This is part 2 of my testimony from ages 12 to 20. I do have to say that the height of me having DID was from ages 4 to 28, I believe. But a lot of the ages of probably 4 to 24, I don't really remember those times from a first person perspective. I remember it mostly by a third person perspective. And this is part 2. So I got a coffee / chai mix, and I got a fuzzy swag. So, but this specific one, I also wanted to say, like, I know a lot of my testimony probably sounds just really bad, but I did have moments where I did have, like, friendships in school. I had some people that would be my friend for like a little while and then they would disappear. But I will say I did have, particularly between 4th grade and 5th grade, I had a pretty large friend group. To me, it was large. It was only like 3 people, but I actually liked all 3 people. Whereas in the past, I felt like I had maybe 2 friends and they weren't really my friends. And then sometimes I don't think I really understood what friends was at that time, because so when you're in like a really manipulative family, you don't really see people as people. I think you see them more as like a means to get what you want. And I remember one time, this person probably doesn't even know this, but I was friends with a girl because I liked her brother and I wanted to know more about her brother, so I made her my friend. And then I found out after meeting her that I did not like her brother, and she was also an awful friend to me for years, and very much a like taker user codependent relationship. I also have friendships where people took advantage of me, like financially. Even as a kid, I remember a friend. I mean, she's not really a friend, but I thought she was at that time. I remember she bought like rings and she gave them to her best friends and didn't even give me a ring, and then offered me and then told me that she was hungry and she wanted food. So I used my money that my family gave me. Well, my family didn't even give me money, like literally ever, to give someone that didn't even consider themselves my best friend food. But I will say, like, the people that were my friends for short periods of time, they were very great friends to me. They supported me, they cared about me, they heard me out. But they didn't stay very long. So I would have like seasons of friendships. Anyway, starting at age 12, right? I would say, also, I don't think I understood that people date to date. I thought that if you dated somebody that, like, you wanted to marry them. So as soon as the guy was like, I like you, girl, I was like, okay, so when are we getting married? And I was 12. But I'm pretty positive that's from grooming effects of my uncle. So yeah, I was pretty much like, when are we getting married? When are we having kids? which from a male perspective, I was terrifying because I this was when I had DID. So like, imagine a person that is hyper anxious, and then when they want you to love them, but they don't know how to be loving, and their love is like overgiving. I wouldn't even have wanted to date me, personally. I would find myself, and I find people like that actually very overwhelming and definitely deserving of a block. Anyway, because it's not healthy. That's another story. Anyway, so at 12, I would say I was like obsessed with pregnancy because again, I didn't understand the casual dating thing. Oh yeah, I think a lot of my, like when you have a family, they're supposed to feed you, they're supposed to clothe you, they're supposed to financially take care of you. I really wasn't taken care of. Like, I purposely wouldn't try to lose or gain weight because I knew that if I lost or gained weight, my clothes wouldn't fit anymore. I think specifically I started doing that more when I was in middle school, because I knew I wouldn't get new clothes. I also got really good at patching up my clothes. And if I had shoes, my shoes would have to be like completely trashed to get new shoes. But as well as, and I mean this from like the ages of last video and like as I grew up, I also didn't really, it's like when my family would have a milestone, they'd be like, oh, if you get an A, you get $20 or like $10. And they did that when I was like really bad at school. And as soon as I got better in school, they stopped doing that. So it's like a lot of times when I was started praying. Anyway, talk real loud. How about that? Jesus, please give us the guidance to talk about my testimony. Give me the guidance to be calm and speak clearly, and help me to deliver your word and this testimony for your glory. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Anyway, so yeah, they just didn't do the bare minimum. Like, they did the bare minimum to keep me alive, but they didn't meet the basic needs to take care of a child. Does that make sense? Like, they taught me how to eat, and then they were just like, go feed yourself, but didn't provide me the food to feed myself. And then, like, clothes, you want your kids to have nice clothes, you want them to be cared for, but my basic needs were just neglected and not really there. Apparently I had my first boyfriend at 12. I don't know if I was 12. I guess I was, because my previous note said I was. It was this dude named Aaron, and I just realized that he had like a great spirit and he had nice eyes, and that's why I dated him. Kudos to Aaron, cool dude. I'm proud of him. I saw him later on in life. I think he has a great call in his life, and that's also why I dated him. But at that time, I didn't know that the spirit and flesh are two different things. But I was very jaded and mean and broke up with him because I thought he was immature, but at the same time, I wasn't mature. I was in middle school and was not on the same wavelength as other kids because I was massively abused. So, anyway, also, I remember when I was 12 that I had a conscious thought of like, you know, if I'm 12 and my family hates me, maybe it's because I'm not 13, and it seems like once kids are teenagers, their family likes them more, they get more respect, they get more consideration, and I was like, if I turn 13, I might get some respect, people might be kind to me. That was not the case. I also think it's notable to mention, because God just brought it to my attention that my siblings and my mom were very close knitted, and because they rejected me so hard, I felt like I only had my dad, who was already abusing me. So he created a scenario, and I think she created a scenario where I was seen as like the other kid. I also thought that I was potentially adopted. I thought that maybe they kidnapped me. I thought that I was maybe a kid from a separate father. That's what I thought, because I was just like, I don't understand how my family hates me so much. And that's just what I thought. I was like, I'm adopted. I also was fully cemented at this idea that Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin were my parents, because I just loved them so much, and I felt like they related to me more than my parents did. And I think that also gave me an obsession with death a little bit, because they were in the 27th Club. But yeah. Oh yeah, and I started playing in band at 13. I loved band. I played clarinet in band for 3 years, and then I switched to other instruments later. We'll talk about that later. But I think when I was in band, I had a teacher. Well, I had 2 teachers. I had one in elementary school that was a man, and I think he was of a different descent. I don't remember what race he was, but I remember that when he played his guitar in school, the other kids stopped talking, and I was like, sweet Jesus, people are quiet when you play music. I want that. And then they all started, he did like this, and then his armpits was like sweaty, and everybody was like, and he was like cheeky, like he was like, like blushy, and I was like, oh, but I was like really excited because he played and it was amazing, and I think everyone saw him as like this geeky dude, and I just thought it was so cool that people were quiet and I could have peace and quiet for a couple minutes at school. And I looked up to him a lot. I think he's also, he's definitely 100% the reason that I love music. He also was the first music teacher that I had in my elementary school that allowed us to do music, because the previous teacher, I tried to play rhythm sticks and she smacked my hand. So I was like, I don't like this lady. I want her to leave. And then she ended up dying, and they lied to us and was just like, oh, she left, but she died. And I saw it on a board in the teacher's lounge that she died of like cancer, like brain cancer or something. And I was just like, and that's also when I learned that adults lie, because this lady was so mean, and everyone was like, oh, we're gonna miss her, and I was like, y'all don't miss her. You're lying. She's mean. She's mean to kids. If she's mean to kids, she has to be terrible to work with. That's how I felt as a child. So when the teacher actually came, he let us play music, and he specifically would allow me to play like kid instruments. He would let me play marimba. He'd let me play the glockenspiel. He let me play the tambourine. He let me play a lot of percussion. So of course I was like, this guy is dope. And then he also taught us Motown songs, and this is also another reason that um, we also ended up going on a music tour at one time. That was amazing, where we got to go to like different drive times, and um, man, that really makes me emotional. But I remember how awful I felt. But he allowed us to go, like, drive time, brought a limo, a stretch limo, and I gotta tell you, you can feel so poor, y'all. We had so many sponsorships at this school. We had Magic Mentor sponsors, but Drive Time bought us limousine, and we went to 3 different drive times. They gave us candy, and we sang a song. We sang, I think, 2 or 3 songs, and then we get back in the limo and go to another drive time, and we sing. They give us candy, and then we go to another drive time, and they also gave me a beer. I still have a beer, and I was like, man, touring's awesome. But um, I remember I just observed the whole time how excited people were. Um, the kids were. I mean, I was a kid too, but like I was observing other kids, and I remember how happy everyone was. And I saved all my candy because I was like, I'm gonna save it. I don't know when I'm gonna get candy again, and I'm gonna just eat my candy later. But everybody else was eating their candy in their limo, but I'm like, let's maybe not do that, because I just felt like, different perspectives was interesting to me. Like, I'm saving mine because I know I might not have none, and y'all just eat y'all's freely because you're just little kids. Even though I'm a kid too, I'm 13. But yeah, I always appreciated that they did that for us, and that was very fond memory. Him allowing us to do Motown and seeing it. I remember he had us do wigs one time, and I remember I came home and my parents were like, why your hair look like that? And I was like, it's a wig. I just thought it was so cute. Like, it was so fun. And so it's just a great memory. And I'll tell some other stories later. But yeah. 13. Oh wait, no, 14. Oh yeah, but J.B. Wilkins was my middle school teacher, and he was a great teacher. I learned some of the lessons he taught me in middle school about being a musician. I still follow now. Also, he gave me an award called Stars of Tomorrow when I was in middle school, and I gotta tell you, that was the first award I won that I actually won myself. And I was like, he sees me, he knows me. I was like, I have value. Wow. But no, like, I was really happy. My family probably has that award because I didn't bring it with me, but that's okay. I'll never forget it. I was very happy because I remember when I won it, people were like, "Who was that?" And I was like, "It's me." Anyway, sorry. Anyway, I would say like the middle school. I'm not really sure when I started middle school because I had a birthday and then also stayed back, so I don't remember what age I was. And frankly, I'm not gonna do the math to tell y'all. I'll be honest with you. Anyway, excuse me. At 14, 13, 14, something like that, I was fairly afraid of my dad. I was very jaded. I did start Upward Bound. If you guys know what Upward Bound is, it's like a program that you start in middle school. So if you're in 8th grade, during the summer you go to a college campus. This one in particular was at Rollins College, and they so if I was in 8th grade, they taught me during the summer for ninth grade, so that when you started the next year, you were ahead of whatever you're learning that year. Did that help me? Not all the time. Sometimes, but most of the time, not. Because at that time, they really were doing like auditory learning, and I'm not an auditory learner. I'm really bad at it. Please don't tell me something in detail verbally because I don't understand. I will zone out and I will be confused. And then you'll be like, why are you confused? And it's because I don't learn like that. So I learned better by reading textbooks or kinesthetic learning. So again, I didn't learn that until much later. But so I struggled. Um, and the teachers that they had, oh yeah, Upper Bound was also to help you get into college. But the funny thing is, I knew full well I never wanted to go to college, but I just wanted to get away from my family for the whole summer. So I was like, of course I care about college. I love college. I will do whatever you say. Just let me be here. So thank God for this program. Because man, if I would have had to stay during the summer with my family, Lord Jesus, I would have not been okay. So during that time, I basically was able to be myself, my actual self, as me, not as DID, a lot of the time. And I was able to have sleepovers, choose what I want to eat at that time. The first year I did Upper Bound, I struggled with eating. I would not eat. I would hoard the food and eat it in my room, which is bad. I refused to go to the bathroom. They didn't know that, but I did it because I was scared because of my father being a creepy man. So I was afraid of a lot of things, but I also had a lot of dreams at that time. I also had a lot of, I was seeing, I don't know if I was seeing demons at that time, but I was seeing shadows and things. I would go to the bathroom, they weren't flickering lights, they weren't like like a light switch, but the lights would flicker on and off when I'm going to the bathroom. The water would turn on, the toilets would flush, and it would happen to me and this other girl, so much to the point where, one, I think Rollins probably has some demonic things going on because it's so dang old. And then it happened to me and this other girl, and it used to happen so much that me and her would go to the bathroom together or like any place together because there would just be stuff going on. And I would pray, but I didn't really understand like what was happening. So yeah. But yeah, Upper Bound was great for me. I'm sorry that I kind of took advantage of y'all because I never really intended to go to college. But you really helped me to not go insane during summer and kept me away from my family. So I appreciate you guys. At 15, I would say I had a lot of friendships that I thought were. I had a friend that in particular, I noticed that every time she would be friends with people for an amount of time and then she would kind of discard them. So when I turned 15 or around that time, she kind of discarded me and I was like, okay, it's my time, I'ma go. So I left and I read a book. A lot of times when friendships became unhealthy, I would leave and they would try to be like, Stephanie's not my friend, I don't like Stephanie, and I would just be like, okay. And then they would try to fight me, or other people would get in the conversation and say stuff that I didn't say, and I just would cry, or I would recluse. So yeah. Oh yeah, and at this time we started going to Agape. If y'all don't know what Agape is, Like my family just randomly was going to the same church for like 12 years of my life and then just changed to Agape. And I gotta tell you, I don't know if y'all remember Agape in Florida. It was like in Pine Hills, and we lived in Eatonville, and that's a long drive. I don't even know how they got to that place, but they got there. It's closed now. Um, there was a rumor while I was there that the pastor was stealing money. There was also a proven fact that the sound guy was talking to minors. They never did anything about it. One of the kids was bullying me, and his mom was hitting him like he was a 6-year-old and not a 16-year-old boy. Other kids were locking each other in the closet. It was a lot of chaos, and I was overwhelmed, and I had no idea how any of this had to do with Jesus Christ. But I will say, I did learn about prayer warriors, and I loved the prayer warriors. I loved them so much. When they came in, when we actually went to church, because they started having to bribe me with a Slurpee, because I was like, I'm not going if there's no benefits, because I'm not benefiting. The people is crazy, the kids is crazy. I don't learn anything in children's church. One time somebody tried to steal my mom's purse and they stole her card. They used a literal child to steal my mom's card. So I was already scared, defensive, bitter, angry, jaded, and I'm still being abused too. So this place was chaotic, and I was not okay with it. But yeah, the prayer warriors, I loved watching the prayer warriors pray. They would pray for like an hour before service, and I listened to every word. I was very excited to hear the prayer warriors. I respected them. I liked hearing them. It's also when I started seeing people in Christ be jealous of a child. People did not like me, including adults in this church. I didn't say nothing. I didn't do nothing. I think that's spiritual warfare. I just got a lot of hate during that time. I got hit on a lot by grown men as a 12 to 13-year-old / 14, and sometimes they would literally flirt with me in front of my dad, and my dad would not say anything, and I did not like that. Anyway, 16. I turned 16, right? I remember every year I remember when my oldest sister turned 16 and my second sister turned 16, and they got 2-layer cake. Actually, no, my oldest sister got a 3-layer cake, and the other one got a 2-layer cake, and I didn't even get to choose my cake. I was so mad. They got me a sheet cake. Also, I hate sheet cake. I have always hated sheet cake. I never liked sheet cake. Do not get me a sheet cake. They are nasty. The icing is bland. The texture is bad. The cake is actually usually okay. I'll eat the cake. I'll take the frosting off. I hate frosting. I hated frosting at that time. I think my DID actually hated frosting, because I actually could eat frosting by itself right now. So, yeah, my DID people probably hated frosting. So I did not like sheet cake. Actually, I still don't like sheet cake. So that thing we might actually have in common with DID. But majority of DID stuff is actually very separate from my actual personality. Like, I like watching documentaries. I like watching debates. They didn't like that. They watch nonfiction. They watch novels, like romantic junk. I don't do that. I mean, sometimes, like, if it's like a Hallmark, I'll be like, ooh, Hallmark. Because it's, like, innocent. It's not anything, like, slutty, and it's nothing, like, scary. It's pretty predictable. But, anyway, 16. Got a sheet cake. Was not happy. I felt like, why I didn't get a cake, too. Why I couldn't choose my cake. I don't know how But for some reason, the childhood friend that dumped me brought someone I didn't like to my party for my 16th birthday, and but at the same time, well, actually, I didn't like this one girl that she brought because she was self-righteous, and I told her she was self-righteous because she was like, Christians don't sin, and I was like, how is that? And she's like, we just don't. And I was like, I'm a Christian and I sin. And she's like, we don't though. And I'm like, how? If you're grounded, why would you be grounded if you don't sin and you don't do wrong? And she was like, and then she like stormed off. So I was like, cool, don't like her. Anyway, why is this so funny? Not that part, but like, this is fun. Anyway. But yeah, she brought someone I didn't like to my party. And then, like, I noticed that during the whole party, my mom was real. They didn't buy me anything for my birthday. Not that you have to, but like, normally you get something. And my mom gave all of my stuff away for my 16th birthday to the people that were at my birthday. It's like my mom didn't try to engage with me the entire time, and she only focused on the people that were there, and she gave them a whole bunch of stuff and completely ignored me on my birthday. And then it felt like she tried really hard to cause me to feel insignificant, and I did. So, oh yeah, I remember um my dad, this was the first year that I hit my dad when I was 16, because he said that, I asked him about it years later, I was like, you literally beat me, like, with a belt, like, you hit me, like, you hurt me, and I was like, you're abusive, and he was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but, like, when I was 16, I was sitting in my bed, and my bed was, like, behind a door, and he moved the door and just walked in my room and just started hitting, and I was like sitting with my legs up, like fetal position, but like in front of me, if that makes sense. And I hope that makes sense. I was just sitting like with my knees up, and he just came in and just randomly started attacking me. He just started hitting me with a belt. Not like bend over, not nothing. He just started like walking towards me and just started with a belt. Also, when I was a kid, my dad had belts, right? And he used to use big black belts to beat me. And I started hiding them behind the cabinet. They had a big like ottoman in their room, and I would throw them behind the ottoman, and he wouldn't beat me if he couldn't find his belt. So I didn't get beat sometimes, because I would be like throwing them up and let them fall down on the ground. And then when they moved it, you just saw like 5 belts that I just hid and he never found. And I thought that was hilarious. Because I was like, he not gonna look for it. Anyway, but yeah, he came in, started hitting me, right? And I just kicked the man. I kicked him in the knee. He fell, and I just started kicking him. He hit me, and I think he actually did stop. I had already fought my dad before, but I was like a kid, and kid punches versus 16-year-old low body weight, those hurt more. You know what I mean? Because a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old hitting a 30-year-old ain't gonna do nothing. But when I hit him as a 16-year-old, so he had probably like 50, maybe 40, maybe. That actually probably hurt. So I was like, I have won. I was like, it hurts now. I was like, I am going to fight this man at all costs. So Yeah, I got physically violent with him starting at 16. Um, I also started getting intense hate for him. I think I don't think I ever was really like hating him, but at that time I was just like, I'm gonna outlive him, and I was like, that's my goal, just to get bigger and outlive him when I was 16. So yeah, a lot of hatred. Oh yeah, and he started threatening to kick me out when I was 16. So I knew that it was possible that I could be homeless, and I used to pray. I was like, Jesus, if I gotta be homeless, can you at least bring somebody with me so I'm not by myself? So I started keeping a bag packed of like necessities just in case I was kicked out. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned this. I did mention another one that I was stealing. I think I stopped stealing when I was probably about 10. Um, you know why? Um, I didn't tell you about my favorite librarian. When I was a kid, when I was in Hungerford Elementary School in Eatonville, Florida, it's not the same school as it is now. It was an older school. It was yellow, and it had bricks, and it had like motor. It had like a portable building, whatever, in the back, and it had a pavilion, and it was so cute. But they tore it down because it was old. Also, the field was was they wouldn't let us in the field sometimes because the feces, the the plumbing would go through that field. So they'd be like, no, you can't go back there because there's feces in the field. Why are you letting us run in that normally? Anyway, that's nasty. Could have got sick. Anyway, what was I talking about? Hunger for it, right? Dang, what was I talking about hunger for? Hold on. Alright, so my favorite librarian, right? The book was at Hungerford. This was before it was digital. It was like you're not allowed to. You're only allowed to check out 2 books. She let me check out so many books, and she was so pretty. She was this lady that she wore dresses, or she would wear really long skirts, and she wear like a vest, and she had long hair, and she would put flowers in it, or she would put ribbons in it, and I just thought she was so pretty, and she was so nice, and I wanted her to be my mommy. And because my mom is also very light skinned, and this lady is light skinned like my mom. And I don't mean light skin like this. I mean light skin is in white passing. My mom's white passing, but she is supposedly not white. But anyway, so yeah, I love this lady. She was awesome. Also, when I went to middle school, no, high school, there was also another lady that we bonded through. Um, we bonded through books again. So apparently, I just really engage with lots of light skinned women who look like my mom but not my mom, and I just loved them. They were really kind to me, and she told me book lists all the time in high school, and she taught me a lot about books, and we would talk about literary stuff, which is awesome. Both of them were awesome. They were very kind. They were way more mother-like to me than my mom was. So I was very appreciative to them. Um, I would say when I turned 16, I think my abuse became like the sexual abuse became more at night. So it'd be like he would come at night to abuse me when I was asleep. So I was very hyper paranoid. I really didn't sleep well. I also didn't mention that I started reading comics because I would have nightmares. So seeing like Archie and Betty and them not have terrible lives to help me to sleep. Also read Garfield a lot. But also, why is Archie so famous? Aren't they like a polygamous couple at this point? Like, you're all sharing the same people. Anyway. Oh, and I. So when I was 16, I don't know why I dated this guy, but I dated this guy because people told me I should date this guy. So my personality literally dated this guy. Didn't like him. Like, they literally just dated him because people told them to. And, so I was skipping school in high school because I felt like if my teachers were honestly wasting my time, I felt like, what's the point of being in class? Because I know I'm gonna fail it because I don't understand your teaching and you don't like me. So I would skip. If you didn't like me, I didn't like you, and I was gonna skip class. So I skipped class. I skipped with this guy on accident because I was already skipping. He found me skipping, and then he skipped with me. And then my boyfriend found out, and then he was like, "We gotta start skipping." And then we skipped. Got caught. We were in the bathroom. He was in the girls' stall, like in the room, like in the girls' bathroom with me. And I didn't even skip in the girls' bathroom. I skipped by walking around. But when my boyfriend did it, he was like, "Yeah, let's just skip in the girls' restroom." And I was like, "Okay," because I just didn't say no. And then we got caught in the restroom together. And then the cop that didn't like me at the school was like, "Oh, he said that he just wanted to sleep with you. That's why he was in the room with you." And then there was like a scandal. And then my parents took me out of that school. And then I was like, "Oh no." So there was like a fake sex scandal when I wasn't even having sex. Like, can I just admit something that I find very funny? My mom was like hyper fixated on me thinking I'm having sex. I was like, "Ma'am, I wear bell bottoms. Who's out here coming for me?" I don't mean it that way. But anyway, I was like, "Who is out here?" Oh Lord, forgive me, Jesus. This is the internet, but people say things. I'm just being clear, that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is, who is looking for me and I'm wearing bell bottoms and tie-dyes since middle school? No. And then you think that I'm involved in a sex scandal in the bathroom and I have bell bottoms on and I'm afraid of literally everybody. How does that make sense? So when that happened, I felt like my mom was like, "Oh, well, since you love in the bathroom, like since you in the bathroom, why don't you clean the bathroom?" And then my dad was just like, you're he just called me all the words that are not kind, that are not in the Bible. 4-letter words and 3-letter words. And then my mom was like, "Are you pregnant?" And I was like, "Why would I be pregnant? Does that make sense to you?" No. So yeah, I got taken out of school. I was in Edgewater. I also, oh, also my parents took me out of band before this happened. So that also incited me. Because it's like, I was in band for the first 1.5 years that I was in school. So like ninth grade to middle of 10th grade. And they took me out of band, but they said it was because of my grades. But as an adult, I was like, no, that don't make sense because they don't, they, as soon as the band was like, the band was like, "You have a fee," that's when my parents took me out of band because there was like a $300 fee for being in band, and I guess they didn't know. So they were just like, "Your grades are awful, get out of band," and they just never paid it, as far as I know. So I think they just used that to take me out of band, as well as I was noticeably better at band because every single time I was good at something, they took me out of it, as well as if it was related to my call, they really took it from me. But yeah. Well, yeah, and then the cop didn't like me in Edgewater. She would agitate me like, not like agitate me, like irritate me. It's more like she would be like, don't hang out with her. When I didn't even say anything to her, I don't know her. It's just she targeted me and then wouldn't leave me or my friends alone. If somebody was around me, she would be like, hey, don't be around her. Or don't be her friend. Or if I was going to class, she'd say something negative to me. And then as soon as we got caught in the bathroom, then she started actively making rumors about me. And then, supposedly, from what I heard from other people, and then she also caught me. So she was like, so excited for me to be in trouble. And I was like, cool. Yeah, should have skipped outside, not in the bathroom. But also don't skip, because that's not good. Don't skip, go to school. But I really didn't care about school, to be honest. I really understood that no matter how much I tried, my family wasn't going to care. I knew I wasn't going to college. I knew I didn't care about college. But the only thing was I got kicked out of Upper Bound because I wasn't in a school that was supported by Upper Bound. So that actually crushed me a lot. Also, the Upper Bound the next year became hypersexual. I noticed that a lot of students were, to me, it seemed like there was a lesbian college student that was an RA, and she was targeting the girls that were gay, were seemingly gay, and were having them in her room a lot. And yeah, Upper Bound got very toxic. It felt like the first year we were like, dude, we're great, we love each other, and then it was like, it was like the second year everybody was trying to sleep with each other, and the teachers were just unqualified. I got bullied by a teacher. I was sporadically falling asleep in class, and which I now think was actually FMD. I was falling asleep everywhere, but they were like, "Oh, you're just anemic. Take some pills." But no, probably not. Probably was having some FMD symptoms. Can't verify that though. But anyway, so yeah, after Edgewater, my parents took me to this Pentecostal school. I learned a lot of fake theology. I also learned about people pretending to be Christian and like doing like church voice and pretending to praise God for aesthetics. The children taught me that. One of the men was trying to tell scripture, and he literally, in front of his kids, was like, yeah, Jesus is a curse. Not Jesus is a curse, sorry. He was like, children are a curse, but literally just read a scripture that was like, children are a blessing. So I was like, how are we getting that? What are we reading? So I was annoyed, and I used to skip that. I would be like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then I'd come in late so I don't have to hear it, because I was like, you're not teaching me anything, and I'm learning nothing, and apparently we don't know how to interpret scripture. Oh yeah, I stole alcohol too when I was 16. I think my sibling was just turning 21. I was 20 something, so she had alcohol in the house, and if I found it, I found it and I drank it. So yeah, apparently a lot of things were happening when I turned 16. Anyway, 17. Oh yeah, after Pentecostal school, I just finished that year off at that school because it was like mid-year of 10th grade. Also, somebody read my school records at the school and was talking to me about it, and I'm like, aren't you not supposed to be doing that? Isn't that legal? Also, I got passed in a lot of classes that I wasn't even taking. Like, they were like, yeah, we don't have French class, so we're just gonna give you an A. So I was like, thanks for the free A's. I also learned how to cheat, like, on the test, because, well, actually, I memorized the answers, so it helped me with my memory, because you had to, like, self-check your work, it also helped me get out of fear of testing, because like um some of the tests were like 120 questions or 125, and I was like, Lord, how am I going to do this? But I did actually do it. It was actually a really great system. I like the ACE system. I don't like ACE. ACE got on my nerves. Also, they were Pentecostal, and I was not, so I had to wear not pants, and I was not happy about that. And I also had my hair cut at that time. I had a perm, and nobody else had perms, so I was already an outcast, and everyone was related. I got bullied pretty badly by one particular girl, but I really don't feel like I was bullied because of me. I think I was bullied because of how she felt about herself and how she perceived me to be. But that's such as life, isn't it? That's just how people are. Yeah. So I was in like a fake sex scandal, which I find funny because I didn't do anything. Anyway, dang, it's like almost an hour. I'm gonna stop this one and do the rest of. Well, it's not that much left. Okay. Anyway, so workforce. Oh yeah, I went to Workforce Advantage Academy Charter School, long name, after the Pentecostal school, and it allowed me to be able to work and be able to go to school at the same time. I got my first job at Mills in Nebraska. I got hit on by like a 70-year-old who had a turtle, a Galapagos turtle. How did that happen? Anyway, I also bought an iPod Touch that year. I don't know if you guys remember those, but I loved my little iPod Touch. Oh yeah, and when I had like the fake sex scandal thing at my school, my dad broke my phone in half, so I lost everybody, all my friends, and I had a cute phone. You remember those phones that open like this? It was like it opened like this. It was like this. It wasn't. It was like a knockoff of the phone that opened like this, but it was like this, and it had like a face like this, and this part was a BlackBerry looking thing. I think it was a Verizon phone. I still don't even know what it's called to this day, but I loved that phone. And he opened it and stepped on it. I was sad because I lost all my friends. I had already lost my friends from not being in band, but you know, you probably would argue they're not your friends if they kind of forgot you after you was not there. But it's okay. And then he broke my phone. Did I had nobody. So got an iPod Touch the next year. I loved my iPod. My aunt also bought me a phone. Well, she had a track phone and she let me have it so I could have some type of outside connection with the world. My aunt was kind. She would also sneak me lemon heads. I love lemon heads. And she would give me them sometimes. And she was very kind to me. It was my dad's sister who he was really mean to, and I loved her. Even though everybody had a lot to say, I just didn't see it. Some things I did see, but a lot of times I think people project things, and he was mean to her. Anyway, 18, I realized that I had graduated school. I'm not going to college, and I felt trapped by being in my family's house. I was like, I'm just here. I don't have a job right now. Oh yeah, when I turned 18 too, because I was still in school, a lot of my teachers started becoming attracted to me and hitting on me, and a lot of them were married. 3 of them were married, and all 3 of them hit on me in different ways. One was more like I would see him in the shadows, and then he'd leave, and then he'd be there, and that was terrifying. I used to tell people, I was like, I think he's something. He'd do something, you know. I don't know what he do, but he do something, and it's not good. Anyway, and then the other guy, he was married. It was weird because one of them probably was about 30, one was 40, one was probably 50 or 60 years old, and I'm only 18. But they basically grooming me as soon as I turned 18, but it started when I was 17. And as soon as I turned 18, then Then the people that were like, oh, I would never be with a minor. As soon as I turn 18, what do you think about marriage? I had a teacher ask me what I think about marriage in class. How? Why? Anyway, but yeah, I got my first job literally the same, like the next day that I turned 18. But yeah, it was Mills, Nebraska. It's a lumber company. I literally got the job because I know my ABCs. Um, all I did was file paperwork. Also, this lady was really mean to me. She was like, Stephanie never, every time she comes in here, or Cadence, she was like, she comes in here and she never says hi to me. She doesn't work. And this came out of nowhere. She came to the boss, right, to tell this lady that. She's like, Stephanie comes here, she don't say hi to me. She's very rude, she's inconsiderate. And then she left, right? And this lady had been working there and was telling me that filing paperwork was beneath her and that I should do it because it's suited for me. And she was just really rude, and she would just leave and I would just be the only one working. And people had quit multiple times. But the thing was, the pay was low, but you're working there every week, so you're getting paid a lot. So it's not even that the pay was bad. And for the most part, I would just be cleaning out offices or filing paperwork or organizing files from like the last 20 years basically. And she just went to the office and just told our boss that I was disrespectful and that I was rude and that I don't say hi and I don't do work. And the manager was like, hey Stephanie, come in here, I want to talk to you. And she was like, I know you're quiet and you keep to yourself, but let's call her April. She was like, April, she said that you're very inconsiderate, you're not really working well. Can you tell me what's going on? And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh. I was like, I've been waiting for this. And I was like, no, she is not telling the truth. She comes here every day, hides in the back, smokes, and does not say hi to me. She's very rude to me. She's rude to the other lady, and I don't find her to be doing anything pretty much ever. And I just say hi to her every morning, and she ignores me, and I'm very respectful to her, and she talks down to me. And then after that, she was like, thank you for telling me that. And she looked surprised. She was like, I was like, yeah, you never heard me say all those words, have you? Because I really didn't talk during like the whole shift. Like they would be like, hey, go file the paperwork in the back, make sure you do this, put it in there. And I was like, okay, never see you for the rest of the day, I'm gonna work, But yeah, that lady got fired. April got fired the same day. I didn't know she got fired, and the bad thing is, she came over and was like, hey, nice meeting you, Stephanie. And I was like, nice meeting you too. You have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. She got fired. And I was like, when I said have a nice day, I looked petty. But no, I didn't know she got fired though until like the next day, because the people that worked there told me. Yeah. I also learned that sometimes you may think that people are all on the same page as you, and they are not. This lady was talking about how she would protect her son, and she was terrifying people, and they were like, and she was like, yeah, I would protect my baby, and they were just, sometimes everything that you think shouldn't be an outside thought or comment, and even I have to say that for myself. But yeah, 18 was okay though. 19. Actually, I didn't actually graduate when I was 18. I think I graduated when I was 19. But yeah, it was very clear that I would probably be with my family, and I was not happy to be there. 19, I was in a relationship with a guy that was younger than me. I don't know if he was 17 or 16, but my teacher told me he was 17 or 16, and I had just turned 19. And I didn't even like this dude. He had so much. He had sexual morality in his family, and he told me about it so casually. And this was the second time that I had an ex that had sexual morality in his family, and he was very casual about it. Because the first one had told me that his family, he told me he saw his family's nakedness, and he was talking about it as if it was a flex, and I was like, that's strange. That same ex also tried to get violent with me, and I had to have a teacher like tell him to leave me alone. And then this ex was just, his family members were having relationships with each other, and he was very casual about telling me and another person about it. And then I could tell that his friend was uncomfortable and I was uncomfortable, because I was like, why are you not uncomfortable? And then he assaulted me as well. I was very clear about where I stand, and I think my personality saw him as a safe person, because he seemed so insecure, honestly, and he still was a sexual assaulter. I guess the first red flag was the fact that, the fact that he was cavalier. I don't know if cavalier is the correct word. The fact that he was so casual about his family sleeping together and was openly sharing it as if it was like okay. But yeah, he assaulted me, and my teacher was concerned for me because of my age, but I didn't like the guy. I literally just wanted to hold someone's hand. Well, my personalities wanted to hold someone's hand. I think a lot of times I wanted the simplest of actions, and I didn't know that sometimes holding hands or giving a kiss can be a invitation to people that have no boundaries. So I got taken advantage of a lot by exes and random people. I used to get smacked on the bum bum a lot and groped a lot. So, and I did not know how to stand up for myself when I had DID, and I honestly just did whatever they wanted, because I felt like if I didn't, they would do it anyway, but it would be more violent, because that's what I had learned from my experiences as a kid. So, yeah. Oh yeah. When I was like 16, I think that's also the first time I realized that my mom and I looked differently, because people started asking me who that white lady is, and I was like, she not white, she my mama. Yeah. Oh yeah, my mom also started like creating situations where I would seem like the bad guy. She would like for example, one time she was supposed to pick me up from band practice, and I said, hey, pick me up in the front of the school. This lady drives to the back of the school. By the way, been at band practice since school ended. It's like 11 now. It's dark. Ain't nobody at school, because she just late. And oh, and this isn't the first time this has happened. My dad had left me at school multiple times too. It would be nobody there. I'd be waiting at school. Actually, he did on the last day of school. He was supposed to pick me up and just left me there. and I'm there for like 5 hours after I'm supposed to be picked up, then pick me up. Also, sometimes I would work. Well, that's later. Anyway, um, yeah. So my mom was supposed to pick me up. I told her to pick me up at the front of school. She drive to the back of school, say, "Oh, I'm here," and I said, "Oh, well, I'm in the front of school. So where you at?" She says, "Oh, I'm in the back," and I said, "Okay, well, I'll meet you in the back." I walk to the back. She calls me, says she's in the front. She did this 5 times, and at this point, I also was very rebellious to my parents because one, I could fight my dad. Two, I'm sick of y'all treating me like trash. And I'm just angry. And this is also when I'm 16 and I was still at Edgewater, right? I'm sorry, this is a lot of water, but I honestly didn't remember all this until I started the video. But so I cursed her out. And I was just like, "You stupid," 4-letter words. And I didn't know my aunt was in the car. So my mom would do stuff to cause issues, and then I would react to whatever she did that rightfully I had a right to be angry about, but I would react to it the wrong way, and then people would see it, and they'd be like, "You're a terrible child, you should respect your mother," and I'm just like, this lady keep doing this to me all the time, and I'm tired of it, because I would have patience, but at some point I got fed up. I would also scream a lot. I would throw things. One time I locked myself in the closet because it's like they were persistently doing stuff to try to cause me to wrath. And I got sick of it. I got angry. I was rageful. Tried to throw a table at my dad one time. I cursed him out a lot. He threatened to fight me a couple times, and I was like, "Fight me then." He never did it though. But he got progressively worse. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, all that started around 16 to probably 19, 20. Oh yeah, my mom tried to embarrass me a lot. Public embarrassment. I don't think people. I don't know why parents try to embarrass. My mom tried to do this a lot, but it's like the stuff that actually would have embarrassed me, she didn't do. But the stuff that she thought was embarrassing, she would try to do. Like, I remember one time I came late to pick up because I was late because I had to put my stuff away at band. And there's like, I don't know, 50 people in there. So you have to wait. I don't have choice. I can't be like, "My mama outside." So, it'd be like, but anyway. So she started yelling. It was like, "I told you to be outside. You should have been out here." And she like rolled down all the windows and did that. And I was just like, I don't know none of these people. I don't care if they see me yell. They see you yelling at me. That don't embarrass me. I was like, more of, you're embarrassing yourself because you seem like an irresponsible parent because you're yelling at me for something that I already told you was a problem. I said, "Hey, don't pick me up at exactly the time that band says it's over because I'm not going to be done at that time. Because I have to break down my equipment and I have to wait because we have jumpers and we have jackets and I can't just throw that on the floor and leave." They did not listen. And my dad did this too. I also, he would drop me off. So if the concert starts at 6, like we're on the stage at 6, he would drop me off at 6 p.m. Do you know how angry that caused me to be in band? If I am on at 6, I have to warm up, sir. I have to do things, and I can't do that if you drop me off at 6 and it starts at 6. So at high school, I kind of had to lie. I didn't have to lie, but it was clear they weren't respecting what I was telling them from high school and mostly my dad did that in middle school, and then my mom was dropping me off and picking me up sometimes during high school and middle school. Mostly dad during middle school, and then mostly mom during high school. But I had to be like, hey, the call's at 5. It wasn't. It was at 7. I just couldn't stand to be around him. So I would lie so that I could be there early. Is lying bad? Yes, it is. Did I have peace? No, technically I didn't, but in my DID mind, I'm probably glad I did. I think in school too, because I had so many, because Edgewater was such a big school too, that it was easier for my personalities to be compartmentalized in different groups. So they had a field day at Edgewater, because I had different friend groups for different personalities. But did that make my mind crazy? Indeed. I didn't know who I was. And I realized that I didn't know who I was. And I thought either I was a poser or I thought something was wrong with my brain. I also realized that at 12 and 16 that my mind did not listen to me when I told it to do stuff, which is FND. Ha ha ha. So I believe I had it back then too. But I also, during 16 to 20 years old too, I would have a lot of dreams, prophetic dreams. I would have, like I had a dream before President Trump became president the first time. I had a dream about it. I had dreams about when Delta COVID happened, how bad it was going to be for my family. Also dealt with a lot of witchcraft. My mom was doing a lot of witchcraft around the age of me being 16. A lot of beauty spells, and my dad was doing a lot of suicide spells at that time. So I would have like thoughts of them repeating the same stuff in my head during this stage. Also saw my grandma after she died. I do think people do necromancy, but this one was not necromancy. I was not praying to see her. Also, a kid passed away, and I was really distraught about the way she passed away, and I asked God about it to ask if she was okay, and I actually got to see her. Not like in a dream or anything, but like I saw her spirit, and that she was at peace. I think that's it. This was a lot longer than I thought it would be. If you watched this entirely, I've greatly appreciated. I appreciated making this video. Hopefully, it was okay and enjoyable. I'm thankful that God protected me through all these experiences, and I'm thankful that I can laugh about a lot of it, and that I'm not depressed about it. Because a lot of people probably would be depressed, but I have a lot of joy about a lot of it. So I'm very thankful for that. So God bless you, God keep you, God be with you. Thank you for being here, and have a great day, have a great night.